Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another NIKKE reaction. Today we have the long-awaited and very much hyped Afterglow. I've been waiting pretty much all week to get to this one. I obviously have other properties that I need to get to in between, but I just know that with Cosmograph, he's going to cook and it's going to taste delicious no matter what it is. And with how many times I've seen this hyped in comments, I know it's got to be good. So without further ado, let's go. Oh my goodness. Oh. 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 Oh, that's it. This has thrown me off 3 times already. I didn't expect how it was gonna start, the vocals being in there, and now this. Okay. All right. Now I'm starting to kind of get it. It just threw me so much for a loop in the first like 10 seconds. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh. Wow, what a wall. Ooh. I don't know if my face is coming across as like interested or disgusted. Probably a little bit of both. I'm feeling a little bit of both. In a good way. In a good way for sure. Ooh, ooh, that's different. This is such a trip. Are you kidding? I love the choir chants in here. Everything else in the song is fighting against those vocals, including the lead vocal. I can never tell where Cosmograph's gonna go next. And now we back off a bunch? Bold strategy. We're gonna get those heavy electronic like walls that we got the first time. No, we got a solo. Okay. I know this song is like 6 minutes long, too. It just makes me keep wondering what's gonna happen next. How many changes are gonna be there? There it is. God, the overdrive on those. It's absolutely insane. And honestly, borderline a little too much. Gotta say it. I'll explain myself further later, of course. But Cosmo's pushing it. But you gotta push it in this type of music. It wouldn't be memorable if you didn't. I'm just I love this faster part so much. Carries such an addictive energy with it. I think weirdly enough, like this portion, the part that just played, kind of feels a little bit like Bad Apple to me. It's probably just similar notes. But that's a comparison I bet people didn't expect out of me. There's some really interesting choices with the like strings in there too, as far as like what scales are being played. Get a casual fade out. All right, so I'll explain myself, including my negative opinions, because there's not many, but there are a couple ones that I want to bring up. So to start off with the good stuff at very least, this was very interesting. I didn't expect psytrance out of this game or anything. Like, Cosmograph constantly will challenge the genre game in this game and will change things around and go for different approaches and different sounds, and I love that. I absolutely love the variety there. Sometimes it works better than others, but that's just kind of because certain composers are kind of more adept or better at, in general, certain genres compared to other ones. That's pretty normal for any composer out there. It's definitely not just a him thing. But with this one, he had a lot of his familiarity in here. I like that he was throwing in some more classical stuff, especially those like more gothic vocals, those chamber vocals were thrown in there. It matched the violin, as well as all the psytrance stuff underneath it, all of that synth supporting it and leading most of the song, but there was still plenty of other support. I think the biggest part of support was the vocals in the background. The lead vocal of that one female vocal just kind of sitting on top of everything. I'm kind of trying to figure out why, you know, why you would blend these two genres together this way, because I've heard plenty of like classical mixed with etc. insert genre here. I don't know if I've ever heard psytrance done with that. And it's intriguing because it kind of makes the most sense in a lot of ways to me. There's a lot of shifting patterns in there that definitely lead themselves to adjust to each other very well. So I think that that is an extremely good choice. Right at the beginning alone, starting with the timpani roll, and just that's why I was thrown off so much, because I was like, okay, so we're going like a more classical symphonic sound, and then never mind, here's psytrance, and I was like, what? So like I had to like rewire my brain for that moment, and realizing where we were and what we were listening to as the song moved on, it finally made sense, and I was like, okay, so there we were. But then there were also spots that I'm just not entirely loving. I had mentioned that spot with like the wall in there, that wall of synth sound, that really heavy overdrive on those synths. I don't think that's necessarily bad, but given how it's all mixed and how everything on that wall was so high up, it, at least in my headphones, it almost became overbearing. It was right on the cusp of too much. And for somebody like me, that's pretty impressive to have something that's too much go through my ears. It was just a little bit much. I like the like structure of having that in there. I think the idea was good. It really just kind of hit a sour note, quite literally, because of how shrill it was in my headphones. I feel like if you're listening to this through like bigger speakers or just not directly pumping into your ears, it would feel a lot better. But in that context, it just felt like a little bit too much. But I like that it was there. I like that extra punch. I like the accent it added for that section. It was just sonically a little bit too screechy in my ears specifically. And as a dubstep fan and electronic music fan in general, That, like I said, is quite a bit for me to say, because usually you would never hear that coming out of my mouth. I think it's just the mixing there. And another thing was that there was a few spots where this happened, but the one I can bring up exactly by number was like 512 or so, right in that spot where the song, like, it went down to that like pulsing, like the like, and it just, everything went down, but so did the volume, so did all of the energy, and I feel like there is a hard line in the waveform there, where like everything else was louder straight up, and then for whatever reason, at that transition, it just all got quieter. Everything in the mix went down by like 5 or 10 decibels, and I'm like, why? You know, like, I understand needing to shift the energy away and making things a little bit more like breathable in that space, but changing the volume feels like it was kind of unnecessary. It was almost more distracting than anything, I guess. I feel like you could have just kept the volume pretty consistent and not backed it up all the way, because that would just, like I said, it was more distracting than anything. I think the song would have been perfectly fine without taking it down off of that higher level of volume than it was. And it just, I don't know, it, that did not make much sense to me. But it's also an extremely minor gripe, and in the grand scheme of things, especially while I'd be playing a game with this in the background, I don't even know if I would notice. So it's a really minor gripe on that one, but it just felt odd hearing it solo like that and just going, okay, why did that happen? There didn't seem to really be a contextual reason for it. It just dropped. But again, this isn't like just to shit on Cosmograph at all. I actually do really like this one quite a bit for many reasons, especially that genre blend is just super interesting to me, and I like that. I want to hear more of that. That's cool. There was just those small things in there where I'm like, okay, I could nitpick about that and actually bring up why. It's just those couple of spots were not sitting well with me. Otherwise, this was sick. I see why so many people love this, and I see why it caught so many people off guard, and just like me, they were like, whoa, because this isn't something that's normal. It's pretty unique in its genre existence. The fact that it is the blend it is really alone makes it stand in its own category, and I think that Cosmograph, all things considered, did that really well. Even with those minor gripes I had, those are really just nitpicks. I think overall, doing this for 6 minutes too, like, you could mix this in on a live DJ set and nobody would know. It had plenty of energy in it. I loved the direction that the percussion took. There were a lot of percussive sounds in here that were like trading off throughout. The song really is just like variety incarnate, and I think that just goes to show how much of a chameleon Cosmograph is when it comes to music. There are so many genres he touches on and so many things he blends together that feel like they shouldn't make sense, but then they make all the sense in the world when he alone touches them, or at least he and his band of friends that do all of this production work on these tracks just manage to do everything they can right. Somehow, even in the face of all opposition, they manage to make it work, and that is a skill and a talent I wish I had. So even though I have my minor gripes on this one, they don't mean anything when it comes to actual skill and ability, which consistently Cosmograph does show off. And this is just another example of his amazing ability to do that and catch me off guard every single time. I would even go as far to say, as the reason that I'm a little bit confused about those certain choices is purely because I don't truly know the production skill that he has. I don't have that skill. There's probably legitimate reasons for those things that I pointed out, but also as a listener, that is something to keep in mind. If you're a producer, if somebody's saying that this might be a little bit too much, it's worth taking that into account if they happen to be watching. So it's just a factor there. I think that this is still an amazing track and definitely deserves its spot right up at the top of the list with a lot of other Cosmograph's works. So yeah, I think I'll stop yapping there. I've been talking plenty enough, but thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other songs you want me to get to, I think that Dark Matter is another one I haven't gotten to yet that I've seen a lot in comments. So if you want me to get to that one, leave it down in the comments below if it's anything else. And of course, if you like this video and you want to see more in the future, you know how to follow me and support me and all that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!